was a lot going on in my life at the time, circumstances that made me think and believe that God was making an opportunity to do something. I found a book by Francis Schaeffer's son, talking about what was going on in our culture at the time. The abortion issue was very important, and it was something that I guess had kind of not even thought about as a Christian, and all of a sudden it just flooded into me that here was this tremendous problem that we had in our society, and it didn't look like we were going to find any immediate cures to it. I talked with some of my brothers and sisters in the Lord that I'd been close with over the years. We decided that, yeah, this was something we could do. It was kind of scary because, you know, I really wasn't what you'd call a public speaker. That wasn't my role. This was something brand new for me, something that I'd never done before. I just started going and talking to pastors and try to tell them about this vision. Amazingly, we had some of the major churches in town got on board right away. We had the beginning. Initially, all we really wanted to do was compete with Planned Parenthood. We want to be able to provide a free pregnancy test and whatever kind of support we can for them if they, you know, hopefully decide to carry the baby. And then, of course, having the opportunity to share the gospel. It's just probably the neatest blessing that anybody can have, is to see a ministry from the beginning till it fully matures and is so successful, and how big and how beautiful it is in this community, what an impact it's had in our community.
I first got involved when Ron came to visit our church and talk about it. I was mesmerized from the beginning of his talk, and I just fell in love with the whole concept of the ministry, and I just knew that I wanted to be a part. At the time, it was just one step at a time, and it was a year of learning and growing and stretching and stepping out of comfort zones and all of those things, but we did one step at a time, and it worked. We had to learn how to do the pregnancy test. We had to practice. We had to have a guinea pig to do that. We had to learn everything. It was a lot of going through lots of materials and researching. We had to build a library. There were a lot of scary days. There were days when we first started that I remember coming into the office, and, you know, we've got all the preparations done, but now we really might see clients. And it was kind of like, Lord, okay, we're ready for the phone to ring. We're ready for the door to open. Lord, no, we're not. Please don't let the phone ring today. Not today. Give us one more day. It was just a first for everything. When we take one small step of obedience, when the Lord asks us to do anything, He will enable us to do it. He will provide the resources. He will provide the strength. He'll provide the nerve, if you will, for us to do it. And I think I've carried that through my life. I know that He will bless, He will reward, and He will supply if He's asked me to do something and I step out.
I found Josh McDowell's book, and I started to read in the beginning of the book. As I read the different stories about other teenagers who had been sexually active and how terrible they felt after the relationship ended, my heart just jumped. This desire that I had then led to wanting to talk to other teenagers, talk to other kids. This is Northview High School, and this was the first school that I was at the first time I went. I was scared. I was so scared. I hadn't stood up in front of teenagers before. I didn't know if they were going to jeer at me or what they were going to do. They listened to me. They participated. I had a little story I told them about this girl when she was 17, and She had made the decision to be sexually active, and her boyfriend broke up with her after 6 months, and she was very saddened by that whole thing. That was me. At the very end, I'd take my guitar in. Then I had a song that I sang called "It's Not Too Late to Start Over," because I wanted to give them hope. Other schools asked me to come in and other programs. I'm very grateful that God let me be such a part of a wonderful, wonderful thing that's to help so many teenagers or help so many people. So very grateful that I could be part of this.
I remember the feeling of, when you find out that you're pregnant, and then there's another moment when you find out you're going to be doing this by yourself. The feeling that you have when you see someone walk away from you, and knowing that you're on your own, there's an aloneness and a fear. I didn't think I could live. I thought that if I just could go ahead and just die, all the better. But I lived, and I not only lived, I prospered. And I have a story to tell. I have a story of a faithful God, that nothing is impossible for Him. The first meeting, what I remember is that we were hopeful, that we wanted to show them that they were very valuable to God and to us. We wanted to show them that they were valuable to the God in us and that we love them. There's other places where women can go and get their abortion. And when the abortion's done, they don't care what happened to them. If you've got trouble, don't come back here. Go someplace else. And we're not like that. When they come for whatever they come for, we care about them in that moment. But we actually care about them beyond that moment. Someone comes in to see us, we're going to pray for them. When we have them in our EMT meetings or our encouraging parents meeting, we're going to pray for them. And we're going to help them to know there is a God who will love you through this time, and there are people who will love you through this time, through the eyes and the hands of God. That's what I want them to know. You've got this valley to walk through, but you don't have to walk through it alone. This is really the easiest thing in the kingdom to do, is just be there for somebody and love them and walk with them through this time in their life.
I came to Brazil as a startup new practice with a partner at the same time. So hard enough, winning over a very small community to start up a medical practice, but two of us doing it at the same time. So needless to say, we had some lean times there. It was right at that time that I started thinking and praying about what are some areas or directions that I might go with an outreach type thing. Sharon presented to me a vision of, providing medical care under the umbrella of the CPC, and that was right in line with my interests medically, but also where my heart was. I remember sitting at the table that very first planning meeting, and we were talking about some of the challenges that other centers had to get these medical clinics started, and all the pieces of the puzzle that are normally really hard to come by we had sitting at the table. And so it was just kind of like it was meant to be from day one. It sort of came up that what if we could offer ultrasonography as an evaluation tool to these young gals when they first come in. At that time, I'd just come out of residency, and we had an ultrasound in our residency clinic, and had dabbled in it enough to be comfortable with one, and being naive enough, raised my hand and said, "I'll do ultrasounds." The reality of, okay, we better protect ourselves legally, and we have to do all these steps, and then that was when the planning got a little more difficult. Medically, the need aspect of it was just as a physician to have that interaction where it wasn't about schedules staying on time and coding and billing and all of that. It was just about seeing a patient, and it wasn't just someone who had showed up because they got reassigned by their insurance company. It was hurting folks. It was folks that were in need and scared, and it was kind of a refreshing step away from that to just get to the roots of where people were needy and hurting, and where young, scared girls were there to try to get help and didn't even know completely the full ramifications of what they were, what path they were starting down, but just needing someone to give them some guidance on some level, and changed me as a physician a little bit.
I worked at the Crisis Pregnancy Center in Terre Haute about 11 years ago. At that time, the ISU Campus Health Center carried Planned Parenthood information, and they also referred students to Planned Parenthood, which was just a block away. Crisis Pregnancy Center was practically unheard of on campus, so God really laid it on my heart that we needed to reach out to the students on the campus of ISU. The vision that God gave me was to start a student organization on campus with the mission of spreading the word about the Crisis Pregnancy Center while also educating students about abortion and abortion alternatives. But I had my work cut out for me. I needed a faculty sponsor, and I needed to gather enough students who also wanted to participate in starting this organization. So I visited some of the campus ministries and spoke to them at their meetings about what I was trying to do, and a lot of the students were really excited about it and signed up to be involved. So once we got our faculty sponsor and we had our number of students, we filled out our paperwork, it was filed, and we became a new student organization on the campus of ISU. We started holding regular meetings at the student union, and we participated in a campus health fair. It was really exciting to see how God was using that ministry on campus, and to see that word about the Crisis Pregnancy Center was starting to spread on the campus of ISU.
It was just so exciting yet terrifying all at the same time, because it was basically turning the center upside down for how we had done things for 20 years. The cost to start the program was huge. We didn't have that funding, not having any direction on how to do the program. We didn't really have anything big to put in the boutique once we were finished, and we didn't have any girls who were already signed up to be our first guinea pigs. Was big obstacles. What God did was Claire Fairbanks came on board, and as excited as we were to start the program, paint and trim and shelving and some things to put in the boutique. The curriculum was very expensive, so we just put all that together and said, here's kind of what we're going to need to get started. If that would be okay with you, we'll do it. We're ready to do it. That was our first big step, just gutting upstairs, starting over. Only to think, well, I hope this works. I hope it works. So that's where we started. As we shared to our clients, here's our new program. We're hoping you might be interested. We're very excited to start this. We had about 7 mentors, and we had 10 girls who said, yes, I want to do that program. Sign me up. So we started with a waiting list, which is a good indication that God was in it from the beginning, because it went over huge. The more mentors we got, the more the client load exceeded the mentors. Our first 2 graduates who went through the whole program for 2 years came to me and said, Melissa, we're just so excited. We want to keep on doing this. Do you have any kind of graduate program? And I was saying, yes, we do. It's called an application to be a mentor. It just showed us that, yes, the clients are willing. They do want to earn it. They do want some self-sufficiency. I have just been so humbled and moved that the Lord even allowed me to participate.
After I retired, I wanted to serve the Lord in some capacity. Dixie had been involved with the CPC ministry for several years, and she would talk about what was going on and some of the life-impacting changes in people's lives through the ministry. She mentioned about the men, their boyfriends and husbands would come in, and the girls would, whatever the counseling or testing or whatever, and the guys would just sit there. I thought, well, I'll just come in and just go out and talk to them. You know, I would ask them, if your girlfriend or wife is pregnant, are you happy about this? Is she willing to carry the baby? How does your parents feel about it? How do you feel about it? And I got different reactions. Some guys were really happy about it, and they were going to be very supportive. And then some guys, it was like they didn't want this. Matter of fact, I had a couple guys just, when they found out that their girlfriend was pregnant, they walked out. They walked out on it. God just kind of placed in my heart compassion for them, and I could see the pain in them, in their hearts, because they missed out on that relationship with their fathers. And here they were, trying to be good fathers, good husbands, and they didn't know how to be. Nobody ever taught them. God just laid on my heart, we need to offer some things to these guys. You know what? They were hungry for that. And they just like to have a guy across from them, eye to eye, talking to them about their life and some of the things that's going on. We have a fatherless generation, and these men need mentoring, and they need these guys giving them good information. They get bad information, but they need good information. And when they get good information, then they can be the spiritual heads of their house the way God wants them to be, and be the manly men that they're supposed to be. Just being obedient to God for what He wants you to do, yeah, it takes time, it takes energy, and it takes commitment. But when you do that, and you have a heart, and that's what God is wanting. He wants guys to have a father's heart right now, to be able to minister to some of these young men. It's been just so satisfying to see these young men, their lives touched, and to see them change in a positive way.
I'm Emily, and I'm alive today because of the CPC.
My name's Caleb, and I'm here because of the CPC.
I'm Mark Ryan, and I'm here because of the CPC.
This is Kaven, and he is here because of the CPC.
I'm Connor,
and he's here because of the CPC.
I'm Nathan, and so am I.
I was born in February 9th, 2000, and I am 13 years old.
I am 18 years old.
I'm 8 years old.
2 months old.
I'm 13.
I graduated from South High School, got my bachelor's from Indiana University, and I plan to start my PhD in biology in 2014.
I am a senior at Terre Haute South, Vigo High School.
I'm in 7th grade, and I go to school at Woodrow Wilson Middle School.
I go to Meadows, and I'm in 3rd.
I'm in 7th grade, and I go to North Clay Middle School.
But I'll bet I'll pass into the 4th. I hope.
What's there to tell? I love to text, and I love being outdoors, and I definitely love to play volleyball. It's practically my life.
I love cycling, exploring Chicago, and I'm currently writing a book.
I love to play baseball, and my favorite position is catcher.
He's really good, really a smart catcher.
I play French horn, and I used to play trumpet in the North Clay Middle School band.
I like to draw so much because when I saw my mom drawing, she draw a panda bear from this one book I have, and it looked really cool. She taught me how to color when I was 4 years old.
Kaven loves his sister Lily, he loves his mama, and he loves to smile. When I walk into the room, he always quiets down.
I'm a lab manager and research specialist at the University of Illinois. This is where I work. We work with the genetics of different insects, trying to understand the gene networks that govern their early development.
My favorite subject is math, and I think I'm pretty good at it. I get good grades in it.
I love to shop.
It's not like to spend her own money. She likes to save it.
Well, use your money, you're working. She'll say, no, I'm saving mine, I'm going to spend yours.
Caesar, he has a toy I would throw in here, and he'll come in here and get it and come back and drop it and let me pick it back out.
I like to hang out with my friends and jump on my trampoline and play basketball with my neighbor outside my backyard. I used to play football until I have a knee injury, and I played basketball.
We spend a lot of time going to ball games, and Grandma's is probably his best fan. I don't think she's ever missed a game.
I really like football and basketball too, and I also like playing video games and getting on my iPad and getting on the computer and hanging out with my friends.
I like bats because they hang upside down and they'll sleep. I like to hang upside down.
Nathan was a fascinating young man, even when he was a baby. He wanted to know everything there was to know, which, no wonder now that he's at school to be a biologist and hopefully get his doctorate one of these days.
Emily came in from having a car ride, and she had just gotten her car, and she was very proud of it. And I said, "Emily, how much gas do you have?" She looked at me kind of strange, and she goes, "I have 1 bar." I go, "1 bar?" She goes, "Yes, 1 bar. That bar that comes just before the E."
When Michael Ryan was in 1st grade, at Thanksgiving they had to draw a turkey, and one of the young girls in the classroom had made the turkey legs fatter than the actual body. It was out of proportion. And all the other kids in the classroom was teasing this little girl so much that she was actually crying. The teacher told me later that out of the entire classroom, not only was Michael Ryan the only student who did not tease her, he actually went up later to her and said, "That's okay, I like turkeys that have fat legs."
We had a rooster who wandered up from one of the local farms. So she had Connor get the dog crate outside in the front yard. They tried all these different ways to capture this rooster. She had Connor out there with bird feed, trying to lure it into the crate, dog food. I think he came out with a tarp of some kind, and he's kind of chasing it around the front yard. Now the rooster at one point started to walk toward Connor, and he took off. Well, they never got the job done, but I sure got tickled out of it watching Connor chase this rooster around.
Whenever he was little, I went to go get his hair cut, and he was really, really tired. I went into the barber shop, and the lady was trying to cut his hair, but at the same time he was falling asleep. We could not wake him up for nothing. We were trying to shake him, open his eyes and everything. He was out of it. So the whole time we had to hold up his head, and they were sitting there trying to cut his hair. It was cute.
Recently, Nathan was home for a holiday, and we were discussing when he needed to get back on the train to go back to Chicago, and he said, "Oh, well, I need to get home by this certain time, Mom, because I have to get the wasps out of the incubator." We laughed and thought that was quite humorous, but that is perfectly Nathan.
I've always wanted to be a nurse. Now I'm going to school half a day, and I'm taking a class to be a CNA. Volunteering at Royal Oaks, I can do pretty much anything a CNA can do. And I plan to go to Ivy Tech for the first 2 years and transfer from there.
I used to want to be the president whenever I grew up, but now I want to be a geologist, and after that I would also want to be a science teacher, because in science we're learning about fossils, and that's really interesting.
When I grow up, I might start out as a race car driver for a while, and then I might quit and start being a policeman, and then I either might stay a policeman or a doctor, but I can't decide. I don't know which one.
I hope for Kaven to graduate and get a good education and to grow up happy.
I'm planning on going to Purdue University and graduating as a mechanical engineer. And I guess if I'm not a mechanical engineer, I'd love to go to the MLB and play professional baseball. But I guess you might as well have a second plan in case that doesn't work out.
When I first found out I was pregnant with Michael Ryan, one of the other workers, Melissa, came to my apartment. She spent the whole evening talking to me, and she even said, "Diane, please come to the Crisis Pregnancy Center tomorrow, and let's even do a sonogram. Let's make sure you're even pregnant, because you might not be." And she contacted Dr. Brotweiser, and he was there within minutes. And I'll never forget that, ever.
I would like to thank you very much for my 13-year-old son. He means the world to me.
I'm just glad that I had him in my life and that I know him. He's always there for me.
I couldn't imagine the world without Nathan. It was a hard decision to keep him, but now I can't imagine him not being part of our family. He's fun, he's exciting, he's interesting. He's a friend now. He is truly a friend of mine.
We got Emily when she was a little over 3 months old. Her birth mother was 14, when she found out she was pregnant. She had just turned 15 when she had Emily, and we were privileged and blessed to be able to adopt her. Emily has been a blessing to our life.
I've always wanted a daughter, and I finally got one. She's the love of my life.
Thank you, CPC.
And congratulations
on 25 years.
I hope you reach a bunch more, like Kevin. In the next 25 years.
They're going to need your help
to make this a reality.
You saved our grandson 14 years ago.
Our son 13 years ago. 24 years ago.
9 years ago.
18 years ago.
3 months ago.
I will be forever grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.